Whether it's lobbying from the large established listed derivatives exchanges or a bit of regulatory discourse, the OTC Forex industry is under serious pressure to look at going onto exchanges. How is this going to happen? We investigate. Very difficult set of circumstances for quite a lot of people in this industry, especially in some of the larger, more well-known and well-recognised companies in the OTC derivatives sector that have built up their name and got a very good loyal client base, some of the best companies in the industry. When the FCA last month published their consultation paper with proposals to pretty much rearrange the way CFDs are provided, CFDs being a core business for many of the better companies in the industry. Exchange trade, in my opinion, and in quite a lot of other people's opinion at senior level, it may well be that a lobbying effort by exchanges and certain large venues has created this in order to try and place OTC markets back on exchanges.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place for exchange-traded instruments and there's a place for OTC markets, and I think this will continue to evolve more as we go. I mean, for example, on spot FX products, it's not if exchanges offer like standardized instruments. Mm-hmm. So when you are an OTC markets is very flexible. You can trade different transaction size, different tenors and things like this. And,
compared to a very inflexible exchange price.
Exactly. So I don't see many OTC products going onto exchange. They started with derivatives like, as far as the reporting of derivatives and transparency of derivatives such as swaps and options. But more or less, I don't see a lot of the spot products to go onto exchange, because the retail user will lose this flexibility that they have right now with OTC products.
That's absolutely right. I think that's exactly the way that the exchange establishment doesn't see it. Yeah. One of the reasons that what is considered to be an upstart industry by the establishment, even though it's 30 years old, is that it's provided such a lot of flexibility and instant execution on such a wide multi-product range of services that it gained a huge following very, very quickly. And I think some of those you can see in the recent mergers and acquisitions. Some of the large venues buying 360 Deutsche Börse, but bought 360T, for example. It's just one of them. Hotspot FX was bought by Bax Global Markets for $365 million. They're getting into the retail sector, but they're not. That critical point is what's not being covered. There's no way of trade reporting except for post-trade in spot, because it's a very instantaneous transaction. Exchange would not be able to provide that. The other aspect is the tier one bank, which wants to do last look execution. That's part of the whole infrastructure of this particular industry. But on an exchange, they will not be able to do that, and they'll be under fire from the banks.
No, true. I mean, there's a movement of transparency in the industry. So from where you generate your price, where you discover your price, to how the order is treated by the customer, and there's a whole movement on this. And more or less, most firms are going to have companies who are offering a tradable instrument to a client will need to be more transparent to the client and how they derive the price, how they treat the orders the client sends, and so on. And the regulators are also, I've read in some reviews from the FCA, the companies providing these platforms or instruments to trade will have to make sure they have proper monitoring and controls in place.
Yes, they will. And I think that's, actually, we were speaking quite recently, I can remember, about something which hasn't been considered here, which is that CFDs, which is a very core business for many, many companies, and has been for many years, with a very loyal, often domestic client base. No difficulties. There's no reason why the regulator should focus on those particular things. However, a CFD is priced on an exchange. It's an off-exchange futures contract, so to speak. So therefore, it might be business that those exchanges want back. But a retail trader can't possibly benefit from that. Surely, going on to exchanges, the CFD on a retail basis is a much more practical product for a retail trader.
No, I agree. It's like I said, the products going onto an exchange, especially OTC markets, it's just going to eliminate the flexibility that the trader has.
Yes.
So smaller traders who currently trade CFDs with smaller amounts will be forced to trade larger amounts, or may not be able to trade the products anymore. I think going on exchange is it may, in the long time future, may happen, but the exchanges will have to really think about their business models and how they construct the products on the exchange to make it available to all the users.
I think that's right. That's the difficulty, is making sure that an OTC trader with a MetaTrader 4 platform or a proprietary platform from a CFD company is able to be able to navigate the exchange costs and fees and the extra latency and so forth. And the banks, with the inability they will have to take all the orders. There's no last look facility whatsoever. They'll have to take the price.
True. So, I mean, in order to facilitate no last look, more or less, banks or market makers have to, to be able to set the price wide enough in order to support, the arbitrage that potentially happens due to data feed latency, or due to the latency between the end user, and to the exchange, or to the market maker himself. So, going onto exchange, would make it more challenging for a lot of the banks to actually, make prices. But in the end, the end trader is going to pay more money for it.
Yeah,
if
that's
that happens.
right. That's absolutely right.
And this is a battle that in the end, the underlying user, the one who trading the instrument, is not going to be happy about paying more.
No, indeed. Yeah. So I think we agree in that case. The OTC industry need not worry, and I think this particular, if those proposals go ahead for the FCA, the OTC industry, especially on the CFD and retail forex side, is alive and well and will continue to be a very, very important linchpin in the electronic trading sector.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Ryan Nettles from Swissquote.
Thank you.
I'm Andrew Sachs-McLeod, CEO of Finance Feeds. Thank you for joining us here at Dukascopy TV in Geneva, Switzerland. See you soon. Goodbye.